Welcome back to the MartiniWorks Podcast. We are in a new position today.
Why?
Not sexual, but we are in a new position because, ladies and gentlemen, I have decimated the available space in the MartiniWorks HQ.
In the last 72 hours, Alex has decided to take apart 3 different vehicles and spread them I Spy style around the entire shop.
I've never seen someone preach keep a clean work area and destroy a work area as much as Alex does.
That's because I'm actually working on my shit, okay? This takes time. It takes time. Anyway, we are in a new space temporarily because there are 32 pieces of a 1999 Toyota Hilux torn apart. And then the 7 pieces of the Honda S2000 also
everywhere I
torn
look,
apart.
there's just
parts.
Yep.
Wheel for a Ferrari, hard top for an S2K, every single piece of the Hilux.
That car was fine.
Which one?
Well, yeah, you're right.
So welcome back to the MartiniWorks Podcast. If you guys and gals are looking for car parts, mod your car at MartiniWorks.com. If you're feeling like a little hell yeah moment, we've obviously got everything that you could need for your tax return time. We got airlift performance kits on sale right now. It comes out to be right about 12-ish%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but $600 off is how much it actually comes out to.
Dude, it's the biggest sale that they do all year. Like, if you've ever been on the fence about, like, bagging your car, and I'm gonna guess bagging your car.
Bagging.
Do it now because it's literally the best price you'll probably get on it.
Absolutely is. And we've got a couple other sales going on. We got Engine's got a sale going on.
Yeah.
We just wrapped up a work sale, so unfortunately I think those are back to being normal price. But if you guys and gals are looking for wheel and tire packages, we mount them and balance them for free. And we also have a bunch of new parts on the website. Miltech exhaust is brand new. We just cleaned up Gretty again because they got some new products out there. And then, of course, we have like 12,000 new EBC products out there on the website. So if you need brakes, we definitely got them.
Been doing a lot of brake stuff lately.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Dakota, what are we starting off the podcast with? It's a new week.
Yeah, there's been a lot of drama as of recently with the old LZ.
Oh, no.
Adam, it looked like he accepted a collaboration, if you will, with Coinbase, and his audience did not jive with that. So
Yeah.
I thought it'd be interesting to
So
talk
what
a little
happened?
bit
Was
about
it like a post or what?
Yeah, I think Joe's was showing me it, and it was on Instagram, and just the amount of hate. I don't know if I've seen, at least in a hot second, LZ get that much hate on a post. It was crazy.
So he announced a partnership with Coinbase. They're helping him build an F-22 chassis, like
That's
BMW car, like dope, right? Like I would imagine the whole thing's going to be, like paid for. The build's going to be wild, good platform. But yeah, the partnership itself just seemed a little off, and like looking at the comments, like did not land well with his audience. And I think just like, I don't. Anytime you get into the world of, like, especially right now, like the crypto, like NFT stuff right now,
There's a lot
dude,
of
it's so like negative energy. It's kind of shady because there's just so many different things out there. Coinbase itself has like come off like how many different like lawsuit attempts lately, and it's just like it was just a weird like out of pocket announcement. I mean, at the end of the day, like I'm sure they paid a good chunk of change to make that happen, and good on Adam for getting that bag, but. Oof, did it not? It did not land.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, biasly speaking, I mean, even when we had our stuff with Torque Motorsports, like when I did content with them.
Yeah, that was you had to like tiptoe around that.
Yeah, that was a tricky one because the game and like the relationship was super rad. But I remember when Torque Drift 2 got released, there was a decision by the company on how they wanted to kind of make that a revenue generating thing, and they chose initially the NFT direction. And I remember when that launched, and I remember being a part of that launch, and my audience said the same thing, which was like, what in the living shit are you doing?
Yeah.
That is stupid. And I remember, and I was like, God damn it, you're right. It felt weird.
Yeah.
Then rightfully so. I mean, I don't think the world of crypto and like the Web3 stuff has done a good enough job as like showing its value.
Well, no, because it's like anytime it's come to like the mainstream thing like that, like anytime they've worked with like a big name or anything like that, it is always backfired. It has always gone just fucking horribly wrong. So it has not made a good name for itself specifically in this space.
Yeah. And then from what I heard, because I also just like checked in on it before
Yeah.
we started talking, was like Adam and Coinbase weren't following each other when the post.
Oh yeah,
was,
they
like,
called
made.
that out immediately.
Yeah,
They're like, they like take Coinbase like, why are you not even following him?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
But you got to imagine that's probably a pretty big chunk of
Oh, dude, it's got to be insane.
coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, they just paid him in crypto.
I did like it though. Like in the video, if you watch the video, it's like we're not launching an LZ coin. We're not doing this. Like so, it's like he knew like that it was probably gonna like have a little bit of backlash to it. I think the build itself is gonna be freaking gnarly.
God, it's so tough though to like, where do you draw that line? It's like at what
Yeah.
point is it the creators, accountability? And Chad, if you guys are listening and want to add your thoughts, like at what point is it their responsibility compared to the viewer's responsibility?
Yeah,
It's like you don't choose what YouTube is going to put as a pre-roll ad, right? So it's like if there's a pre-roll or mid-roll of Coinbase on your YouTube video, does the audience get upset at you or YouTube for that?
Right.
And
Well,
it's
the
like,
thing is, if you could choose exactly which mid-roll was going to be shown, though, I think it'd be different. That's the case. You can choose to work with Coinbase on this
True.
build or not.
True.
Yeah.
And when you do that, I mean, it is you're vouching for that company. You're saying you're putting your name with it.
you are endorsing.
You're endorsing it. Yeah. So you have some level of responsibility to not say yes to every single thing that walks through the door.
Yeah,
And I think sometimes it's super appealing and sometimes it's really hard because of the offers that are made. And maybe you look at it and yeah, it's not a big deal. But to some people it is because they trust you.
Yeah.
They followed you for a long time. So when you just go out and accept something that is kind of like scammy, for lack of a better word, it's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're fucking all of us.
I don't know if like maybe this is where I disagree a little bit, but like I don't see Coinbase inherently by itself as being like scammy. It's more the concept of like crypto and like that NFT space kind of preys upon this like gambling attitude.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think that's where people draw the line.
It's 100% a gambling thing. I look at it the same way I look at all these like fucking sports betting things that have come out in the last few years.
Yeah, dude,
And,
FD,
like,
you can
how
bet on
it's-
FD now.
dude, it's literally everywhere.
Yeah.
So, like, and it's all that's talked about. It's all that's promoted. You watch a fucking football game, 95% of the ads are just like betting and gambling, and it's like, dude, what is going on? And I look at like this kind of stuff the same way because it's targeting a really young demographic.
That's the part that I think kind of concerns me a little bit because last year in February, I went over and I did an activation with Peroni for the Ferrari livery. And that was super cool, right? But they were strict. They were the strictest I've ever worked with before. But it was because that they were out of Europe. And they're like, every time you mention us, it has to be flagged, it has to have brand partnerships, and it has to have plus 21, and it has to be excluded in America, and it has to, and like the list to post anything was huge. And I had never experienced that level of restriction on a post than when I worked with a European company, right? Over here in the States, you can pretty
lot
much,
more lax,
you can do fucking anything.
As long as it's like in like 2-size font that says like, oh, if you have a gambling addiction, call this number, you're pretty much good to say whatever you want.
But a part of me worries about that with like Coinbase or like crypto and stuff like that is like, do you think they have the same level of restriction where you have to be above a certain age? And if so, do you think they're putting those warnings like on those sponsored posts?
I don't know enough about it to say. All I know is that like it has been the platform of a lot of shady shit. Like literally any of like these like altcoin things that have launched in the last years that like have been rug pulled. People have lost money. People have made a lot of money because of it.
It's unregulated, right?
It's super unregulated, and it's like it's just gross. I don't like it, and I mean, it's just in my opinion, just a little weird.
It's just kind of a when you look at what's it worth to get those sponsorships, I think sometimes it's really easy for a lot of people to be like, oh no, I would never do that. I would never do that. But
Yeah,
like,
until
when
you see the amount that they're offering.
Yeah, you see how much
'Cause
some
it's
of
like-
these companies pay.
Yeah.
And it is insane.
Yeah.
Like it is downright unfathomable that some of these out of industry companies will pay influencers or pay us for a reel or an ad. And it's like, yeah, you say no until the literal document
And then the
says
offer is like sign here.
250,000 USD that will be wired to your account tomorrow to do a 4 video integration. It's like, yeah, you'll probably say yes.
Yeah,
You'll probably say yes.
You can't truthfully answer if you would do that unless it was sitting right in front of you. And I would like to see, like, I wish there was a way to get a percentage of people and their true, honest
There's
answer
no
if
way
they would do it.
There's no way you wouldn't sit there and at least consider it.
Well, no, I mean, you've done it. I think you've done it. I've done it. We've all done like sponsored posts before.
Yeah.
It's like when like the De Agostini thing when I did the NASCAR one, the Jeff Gordon like collectible one. I was like, I looked at it and I was like, well, this is pretty cool. It's a little expensive. I don't really know how I feel about like the monthly like subscription thing. I was like, but I feel like it passes like the gut check, you know? And so I did it and I got paid and, you know, the world went on. And I had people that like messaged me and they're like, how could, you know, like, I don't like that you sponsored that. I'm like, well, why not? And they're like, well, because it costs, you know, $1,800 when it's all said and done to get it done. And I'm like, you know, that's super valid. I'll totally keep that in mind for like my future integrations, you know, but sometimes it's tough. You can't, a Michelin tire is not going to be a partner for a video and pay you 6 figures. They don't need your influence. Like the in-industry companies typically aren't the ones that are paying you the largest amount of money. It's the eBays, it's the Coinbases.
The out-of-industry ones that are trying to get into everything.
Yes, that will pay an absolute shit ton of money to get you called out.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking, and I want to like clear this up too. I don't think there's anything wrong with like your favorite influencers or like people, content creators, whatever, like taking those types of collaborations because it's like at the end of the day, it's like that's how they get paid.
It's also
like,
your responsibility.
It's the majority of that. And it's your responsibility too, to like make your own like decisions and stuff on that as well. But it was just like, to me, like this one was like just really odd.
Well, because it's out of industry integration. Like that kind of goes into a bigger discussion about how crazy it's becoming and how popular the aftermarket car scene is becoming. Like I'm convinced that S chassis are no longer a like kind of cool niche car pick. I'm convinced that the S13 and S14 is going to be as expensive as Porsche 911s in 10 years because of how fucking insanely popular they're getting in mass crowds. Yeah. Like if you have money and you're young and you're like starting a YouTube channel in LA, they're buying S13s. Like that's like their first car. They're like, I bought a 50,000 mile S13 one owner and you and I are going to build it together. It's like sick. But like they're like, how much did you buy it for? $30,000. Oh my God. And it's like, holy fuck, you know? And then you think about it, Porsches went through the same thing. Yeah. You know, like the mainstream.
I'd say like a couple years ago, I'd say it's still having a really solid effect on them now too. But like, I remember like no one ever talked about fucking Porsches. You were like the only guy that I ever knew talked about Porsches.
They never talked about doing what to Porsches?
Alex talked about that a lot. No, but like you never saw it. And then like throughout the last like couple years, it's blown up. It's crazy.
I just think it's getting past the enthusiast industry. And I think it's becoming lifestyle. Sure. You know, I think that's like the big thing is when you see car genres becoming lifestyle, now all of a sudden it hits a whole different market. When Xavier Wolf, you know, he did that Chaser, that JZX 100 Chaser build, but then he did a full tour in Japan, and then he did car meets and pop-ups in the US for his tour. It's like that's super rad. That's now introducing tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people that are not car people into that lifestyle. Now they're saying, hey, holy shit, cool. That's cool. I want to do that. And they're like, S chassis, that's what I want. Holy shit, it's $30,000.
I got one.
Their concept,
it ain't $30,000. I'll sell you a cheap S chassis.
Their concept of how much an S13 is worth is not from the perspective of an enthusiast. Yeah, it's like, that's what it is. Perspective of a lifestyle, you know, and then that's where you get this weird thing. 911s are the same thing, you know. They weren't inherently fantastic back in the day. They're just cool. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, that was a ramble. Good. Dakota, come back to us.
What do you mean?
What do you think
of what?
Porsches.
I don't have the funds, but I think they are fun. That's pretty much my take on Porsche. I don't know. I used to kind of be like, just not even remotely interested in them just because they weren't anywhere near my budget. Then I got the chance to ride in a couple and drive a couple, and I was like, whoa, I get the fucking hype. My God, like these are bred for car enthusiasts. Holy shit. Like you get behind the wheel of a Porsche and it's like, okay, this is starting to make a little more sense why this shit's so good.
We need an entertainer, a rapper, or some sort of rock star to make Volkswagens cool again.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
I hear what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm hoping for it too.
I need a V-dub Audi Porsche V2 song.
I'm gonna keep my my hopes there, but
I don't think
I'm not betting much on that.
See, I could see like Jack Harlow trying to make Volkswagens cool in a song.
Baby,
And,
no money. Make another beat that can go viral on TikTok talking about Mark IV Volkswagens, and I will do anything.
The problem
all right?
is, I think it'll become more memey. It won't be like cool. It'll be like a meme.
Yeah.
Especially if like Baby No Money made a song. It'd just be a fucking TikTok meme at that point.
But it'd be
We need Volkswagen to make Volkswagens cool again. There was a while there where they had their like V-dub in the house. Yeah. Like we were watching those ads the other day.
That was peak.
And they are so good. They're so funny. It's like, I need more of that. We just need them in tune with the community.
Time to unpimp your auto.
Yeah. Dude, and they were just like destroying like 2G clips.
It was
It was
crazy.
wild.
That was one of the best commercials of all time.
The whole
I remember-
series of commercials.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the V-dub in the house
Yeah.
for the first time and laughing so hard
Yeah.
that I didn't know what to do with myself.
It was like polarized. I was like,
Yeah.
that was a
It was so different.
Volkswagen
Dude,
commercial.
it was so different.
Yeah.
It was always like, oh, them like driving through the mountains and like canyon roads and like very nice like Motor Trend's #1 vehicle. And it's like, no, we're gonna fucking drop a Golf on an Eclipse and then just like do some wild shit.
Pimp your auto. That was one of the best. We need more of that. That'll make Volkswagen cool again. Bring that guy back. What's he doing?
I'm trying to figure out like what was the best, most recent car commercial in your guys'
Oh
opinion?
my god, none even like pop out to me. Honestly, I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to remember. It's so tough. They are all like the same now. They're all like
Everything's trying to pull at your heartstrings, and I get it.
I hate that.
I just want cool shit again.
It's over. I'm done with the heartfelt stuff. Everything's trying to make me cry. Every fucking animal commercial.
Honda did a commercial that's been running. I really liked it, and it was more heartfelt. But it was like, it was a crossover because Honda does a fucking million things, and it was meant to cover everything. It kind of like,
I think I know which one you're talking about.
yeah, it talks about a bunch of negative things, and then also it stops and it starts reading it in reverse,
Backwards.
and it's all positive. And I was like, dang.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it was like,
yeah, that's
and it was
the
like
one with,
super
like,
like
the-
motorsport based.
Yeah, the athletes and stuff
Yeah.
like that too. And yeah.
That was a good
That's
one.
pretty
That's a
dope.
good
That's a good one.
I like that. But I
Also,
haven't
it
had a
just
funny
it
one.
feels good when you. I feel like sometimes certain brands get it better than others. Like I would expect a commercial like that from Honda, you know, because I think they have that like heritage. And like, I remember seeing the Nissan commercial where it was them pulling up with like the Maxima, but it was like the father who had driven professional motorsports, and that was cool because it showed all the motorsports kind of going into it.
I think all the Gazoo racing ones they did a few years ago.
Oh
were really
yeah,
good too.
those are good.
In the mall.
Yeah, those are more like meant for like the
pitch.
internet.
It was
the
called The
pitch was
Pitch.
good.
That was
those are more
awesome.
like internet ones because like you watch like the full thing and it was like a couple minutes long. But those were fantastic. I like those.
I love the pitch. That was, and I think Larry Chen got to help with that.
Yeah.
Like that's a great example of being in tune with the community. They did a fantastic job there.
I think my favorite commercial that wasn't a car brand but still marks one of my favorite series will always be Pennzoil's like the Drive
yeah.
series.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, those are goated.
they were so.
Those are insane.
The Dodge, the
wanna watch those
Ferrari,
again.
the M4 on the Nürburgring.
Yeah.
Like that was a series I wish.
Dude, the Viper is so iconic.
the Viper one, dude. Oh, when they exhausted, go like, poof, poof, poof.
But the sound
sound-
design
yeah,
when
it
they
was
like
so
pull the
sick.
camera out and it's like no, that is so good.
Like the gauge clusters like turning right. Dude, that if you haven't seen those like I guess you could
Pennzoil
say older now. like Pennzoil ads, like with like the Viper and stuff. Go watch them, dude. It'll change your life.
Yeah,
You
fantastic.
know what else will change your life?
What?
One of the sponsors of the MartiniWorks podcast.
Which one?
Which one should we do? Because they all are kind of life changing. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll tell you what.
What changed your life?
Using Malco Automotive cleaning products.
Really?
Support Malco. That's actually a pretty good one. I like that.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Wrapping a Toyota
yeah.
Hilux is a huge pain in the ass, and getting it clean and getting it ready for what are just ginormous stickers can take a bit of time, which means when we had to get it all cleaned up, we used some of their citrus spray cleaner because it featured all the right ingredients that we could use to clean it without adding any sort of layer of oil or wax or anything like that. And the sticker and the vinyl laid perfectly. And that's one of the cool things with Malco Automotive is a lot of their products were actually built for professional detailing, not for the end consumer. And over the past 10 years or so, they started to pivot by changing their compounds and their ingredients to make it so that normal everyday folks can use it. And what you've got are some of the best products probably out there in the market. I'm not just saying that because we've used and tested and even brought the team up from Malco to teach us about their products, which means the products that we have on MartiniWorks.com are the only products we've actually tested, tried, and can recommend to you guys and gals to use. So if you're looking to get some cleaning care, some detailing products for this season so that you're not borrowing your friend's dirty-ass microfiber 5 minutes before the car show starts, I'd highly recommend picking up a kit from MartiniWorks.com. Buy once, cry once, you use it all summer. You will 100% love it. And we want to say thank you to Malco Automotive for being a partner of the MartiniWorks podcast. So I was spending some time on the internet, which is a bad thing to do nowadays.
Naughty.
Yeah, you got
Unless you're watching the podcast.
Yeah, unless you're listening to the podcast responsibly, which if you aren't, or irresponsibly, be sure to mod your car at MartiniWorks.com. Okay, with that
Pretty
said,
please.
there was I was on TikTok. Oh yeah, I was on TikTok, which is always just you never quite know what you're gonna get.
I don't know what I'm about to get.
Yeah, so it was like I don't know, it was this like guy standing in front of his 335, and he's like, "What's one thing everyone in the car scene tells you is okay, but you don't agree with?" And it had like this typical like really
I know
sensationalized music in the background, and it had like 17 likes, and it had like 400 comments, and then like the top 6 of the 10 were all, people say to respect all builds, but I don't. And it had like a bunch of fucking likes. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like,
I haven't heard someone like use the term unironically respect all builds since like 2015.
that's what I was saying. I
I
was
was
like,
still saying that.
I'm trying to think of the last time I've ever been, in a position where the topic of respecting all builds would come up.
Dude, that's
and
giving
I
me-
have made the choice to say, no, I respect all builds. I don't know anybody that does that. I don't know anybody that actively goes out of their way to say, I respect all builds.
That term gives me fucking flashbacks, dude.
Yeah.
Ugh, it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Especially like from the blast of the past of like WCC days.
Yes,
with,
that's
like, the
exactly where it
car
brought me
meets.
to, yeah.
But like, I don't know if they're... Dakota, do you respect all builds?
No. Some people have trash cars.
Yeah.
I don't need to respect it.
Does that mean that you should proactively talk shit about it?
No. See, that's where people get to be fucking stupid. It's like, if you don't like something, just move on. Just keep going. You don't gotta fucking make it your whole day to comment and tell that person and reply 50 times. The internet is so mind-numbing, and I hate being on it for too long because the comments are just so stupid on anything. You could have the best post in the world and still have the worst comments, or you could have a terrible post and the best comments. It literally doesn't make any sense. But I think you should respect almost all people.
Yeah.
And most people you should show respect. But you don't need to like everyone's build. You don't need to say you like everyone's build, but there's a way to be a decent human being in general about it.
I think that whole thing came about is because, like, dude, when the car scene moved to like online social media, that's all it was. It was just mad shit talking. It was people coming over from the forums that have been online and in the scene for 20 years already, to all the newcomers coming on board and sharing their stuff on like Facebook and Instagram. And like, dude, it was just a nightmare. It was a shit show of just people shit talking each other, and it was a rough place to be. And I think someone came forward and was like, just respect all builds. All right. And it was kind of just like a white flag of surrender of like, can we just be nice to each other for a fucking minute?
Yeah.
And like, that's kind of the term that it came to be. And I don't think it landed the way that they wanted it
Yeah.
to.
stuck
I think you're right. It was more of the thing. It's like, hey, just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, yeah, you don't need to respect their build. You don't need to like their build. But like, if you don't like it, just move on.
Is
Like,
there anything?
What's the benefit?
Because I agree. I think there's a concept of like, if you don't like it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Move on. It has taken multiple attempts for me to avoid saying something on somebody's post, right? Because like there have been times where I've been like, man, I want to correct this dude so bad right now because that would make me feel better.
Yeah. It's
And then I realize it doesn't matter at all, like, unless
me-
you really wanted to.
dude, for me, it's most of the time when it's like someone is just so like passionately wrong. In a way, I don't know how the best to say that. It's like this is the right way to do it, and you're wrong if you don't like the way I build my car. And it's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like I can not like the way you built your car. I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna say anything. But when they make it like the whole personality of that, it's like I'm building my car like this to piss people off, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because
It's weird. Yeah,
it works.
it works, and it gets me all riled up.
Is there ever a time where you've seen something that has made you say, like, has there ever been a build or you've come across like a type of person online where you've said to yourself, you know what? No, I'm gonna go through this shit talking because I just think it's needed.
I don't-
Like, have you ever dove into the shit to
done
just
it.
do it because you have to?
Every once in a while, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't even say this, but every once in a while people get me a fucking snap online and I'll go in. So I'll give the response that's not needed. And I know it's not going to get anywhere because if you talk to a person that is like that, you're never going to win. You're never going to get through to them. You could make every point and it could be 100% right. And they're still going to be, no, the car's stupid. It's just permanent, locked in their brain that way.
For me, it's not usually trying to like change the mind of like the person that left the shit comment. It's trying to get through to like the 73 people that liked that comment.
Yeah.
And because like, oh, dude, it happens so many fucking times that I see. It's like someone will leave some dumbass comment with no like background history, no proof, no source of like, nope, you're wrong. This is what it is. And it's like, it gets 150 likes. And then for the next like 2 weeks, all I see is videos of people using that as the fucking source of truth. Dude. And it's like, oh my God.
I saw a situation. It's unresolved. I don't know what the end thing is right now. I should go back and look at it. But there was a video where somebody was like, do not buy Apex wheels. That's how the video started. And this guy has an M2. And he's talking about how when he installed the wheels, his wheels started making like a clicking noise. And so he blamed the situation on the wheels, and he said that he coated like the back hub and he put them back on and it like fixed it. And like all the comments are talking about how it's like something else. It's like something with the brakes or the calipers but like the video initially started off with do not buy Apex wheels.
Yep.
So now if you go out onto TikTok right now and you type in like Apex wheels, there's a guy that is trying to talk about how Apex wheels are just Alibaba wheels. Then you've got another video of somebody saying, don't buy Apex wheels because it makes your BMW click. Then you go to the third video and it's just like Apex wheels, right? Like a BMW on Apex wheels. And dude, the third video, the comments are a fucking shit show because of video 1 and video 2. And so you get this weird thing that happens where it's like these two loud things occur. There's no fact checking that happens in this group, right? And all of the shit like toilet pressurizes to video number 3 where this guy's like, yeah, so like just picked up my new Apex wheels. These are for the Sprint line. They're really dope. I'm super excited to go out for like my next track day. I really just wanted to get something a little bit lighter. I love the way that these look. First comment, fucking bought Alibaba wheels for twice the price, fucking idiot. Second video, your wheels are going to make so much noise. Didn't you watch the other guy's video? And it's like, oh God, here we go. And dude,
It's just nonstop.
it's almost like the old forum energy is coming back to TikTok because there's no way to close the loop. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
because more people are seeing that first video every fucking day.
because the content's already consumed.
Yeah.
Like there's no, you don't need to you don't need to validate anything.
Just if they take that as like the source of truth without checking any of that information, without even going to like take the 5 seconds to go look for themselves. That's what drives me nuts, and that's what'll usually get me.
That's the equivalent of like reading a headline on Facebook from an article that someone shared and then being like the expert on that political view now because you read that headline that's completely inaccurate. It was just a headline on Facebook. That's the same thing as like consuming a 30-second video and thinking you understand a brand, how they're made, what's done with it. And I hate it. And there's no way to like get around that right now. Their content is too easily approachable now.
What they say, they're like, as we were filming a podcast, they're like, podcast equipment needs to be more expensive. We need to gatekeep podcast equipment more.
The one that I always come back to and just I saw it happen real time and it still has the effects to this day. Is that one fucking dude? He's from like a Chevy dealership. He's like, people get this wrong all the time. This is not a wheel. This is a rim. And the rim and tire together is the wheel. Dude, the amount of fucking comment. I know we made like so many videos on it too. And it's like people still to this day will die on the hill because this one random dude from one random ass Chevy dealer got in front of a camera and said, this is a rim and tire together equal wheel, and they took that as fucking like gospel, and they ran with it. Dude, it's a shit like that. Like it's like how?
Yeah, it is so tough to have those conversations in short form content, which is why
it is.
I like the podcast and I love the potty group because at least we get to like spend a little bit more time talking about things. Cause dude, it's like. Even when we get done in between like takes for this stuff, right? You pull out your phone, you jump on TikTok, and you watch a 12-second video. And in that 12 seconds, you need to get everything you possibly could to curate an opinion on something. Yeah. And it is gross. They need to set fucking time limits on that shit because the amount of misinformation nowadays is like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong or right. I mean, I think that it's just.
I don't think like it's not even to like necessarily blame the creators. I think the people consuming the content need to chill. They need to like just take a breather and learn a little bit about what they're talking about.
But nobody wants to go through that process.
I know.
Like everybody's so hell bent on the Dunning-Kruger like graph, where it's like
losing me.
Huh?
You're losing me.
The Dunning-Kruger effect is how I explain any anger you have towards like this situation, which is it's like competence, right? Like how much you know, and it's confidence.
Okay.
And then the graph is depicted over time.
Gotcha.
Okay? And what happens is whenever you jump into something, anything, any new thing, a lot of times your confidence
it's really high.
Spikes. You think you know everything. So your confidence and your competence spike in the initial like time that you learn something. And everybody like tries to sit there, right? Because it's when you're at the most confident about something. But as you actually get more and more into the thing, as you spend more time learning about the thing, your confidence comes down, right? You still learn, but your confidence goes down to where you're like, maybe, I don't know if that's as true as I thought. Like, I just don't know if that's like the right way to build us. That tire might not be as bad as I thought. And then over time, your confidence slowly starts to come back up, not to where it was before, to eventually say, I understand this thing, but there are so many elements of gray that I'll never actually be as like pointed as when I was back then. TikTok is so fucking filled
on that first
with people on that first fucking peak that the moment they start to go down that like path of more time, getting less confident, they lose viewers.
Yeah.
And so they just want to stay up there for as long as they possibly can, which is I'm going to make the most obscure, overconfident claim about something because I know that that's what gives me value. Because this journey of like learning doesn't give me any value.
True.
And it's so
Which
tough
sucks.
to see because it's like learning's like the fun. Like learning how to drive or learning how to build or learning how to do like that's like the joy of it all.
That's how you get better.
Yeah. Or you realize that you suck at it and that's okay too. Like it's okay to not be the best builder or the best rapper or the best driver or the best sim racer. It's not always a race to the top. Sometimes you got to wrap half a Hilux to realize that you fucking hate rapping and you never want to do it again. And you 100% are going to need help finishing it because God, I hate stickers.
Yeah.
Me too. That's why when Jones wrapped his RX-8 too, I gave him so much props for doing that. I don't know how you guys do that shit. I literally get those 6-inch decals. I put mine. It's like fucking crooked. And there's 3 air bubbles. How the hell did I fucking do that? Let alone doing a whole car. That shit takes patience.
Yeah.
For me, it was like one of those things when I did the RX-8. It was like, I've never done this before. I want to try it. And it was like, oh
Is it
God,
worth it?
I'd say so.
So would
I'd
you
say
do it
so.
again? Like if you get another car, would you?
I've contemplated like wrapping like the 240. But at that point, it's like I've painted some stuff now and have like tried to learn that. And it's like, I want to eventually like paint a whole car, and I can't think of a better car to like try it with because it's already like so fucked. Like,
Real talk, with how expensive it has become to do wrap jobs professionally. And
dude,
if
they're
you
putting
don't,
in just as much work
and if you don't,
and cost to like just paint it.
there's 30 parts of a Toyota Hilux fucking spread out there.
Might as well just paint it.
You might as well just fucking painted it. Taking it down the road would have cost you the same amount of money. There are people that charge like $3, $4, $5 for a wrap job. Totally fine.
Yeah.
Don't panic, right? But like
get it.
I see companies will charge $5, $6 for a wrap job, and it's like, at that point, if you don't really care as much and you want to try, just paint it.
Yeah, I totally get it on like newer vehicles. Like you just got a vehicle off the lot. You got the
M3. Cybertruck.
Yeah, you got an M3. You got a Mercedes. You want to get it wrapped right. I totally
got the
understand.
color you wanted.
First of all, that sure. Second of all, it's like, yeah, I get it. Like that is meant to be like probably like more of a temporary thing, but you want to, make sure that the paint underneath is still really good, like all that kind of stuff. Something like my like 240, dude, I'll just fucking paint it because like by the end of the day, like, I'm spending half the amount of cost on paint supplies than I am buying an $800 roll of wrap.
I've heard quite similarly though, just like wrap, like painting is 80% prep and 20% application.
It's literally everything, yeah.
Because it took us like a whole ass day just to prep the fucking Hilux.
Dude, it was like when I did the RX-8 over fenders and stuff like that, dude, everything was going beautiful. I spent so much time like sanding stuff down, and it's like it'll be like the weirdest shit where it's like I didn't wait long enough between a couple layers of clear and it bubbled. And it was like, what the fuck? Like, dude, it'll be like the weirdest shit like that. So it's like, I 100% understand where the cost comes into play. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to downplay that at all, but it's just like, I just like learning the shit, and it's like, and yeah, I'd like to save some money too, because I don't have $5,000 to go spend on a paint job.
Is it, he's got the S chassis. He paints his car like every year, US Air, super clean, Volk GTCs, big guy, cardigan. DeGainer. Yeah, Jacob. Dude, he paints his car like in his fucking driveway every year.
Dude.
It looks so sick.
And it looks sick as fuck every year.
Join some drift pages on Facebook, dude. That's common. That is so common. Like,
crazy.
Yeah, I just put they don't even put like tents up sometimes. They're just spraying it right in the driveway. They don't give a fuck,
I love that because there's some,
and they turn out incredible.
I suffer from it all the time, which is like, what do you call it? Like analysis paralysis, where it's like, I want it to be perfect. And because I want it to be perfect, I don't make any decision at all. And it's like, dude, the amount of casualness some people have towards paint or even wrap, I think is sometimes like needed.
100%.
Again, with like the whole thing of not being like the best or the fastest or the greatest, it's like doing it versus talking about it to me means like 10 to 1.
Yeah.
Like go out there and do it. Seeing DeGainer paint his car for drifting because he knows he's going to thrash it every single year is such the right fucking attitude to have towards your car if you plan on thrashing it all year round. It's the same thing with you. Like when you painted the RX-8 and you never had painted before, I think that shit's rad. I think that's super cool. You don't have to be the best at it. You just got to try.
I bought a $20 Harbor Freight gun and it did okay.
With that being said, we're going to take a small break, but not before talking about our next partner of the MartiniWorks podcast, Dakota.
Continental, baby.
Conti.
I love my Contis. That's one, I swear to God, if you want to fight me in the comments about how oh, we took a sponsorship, blah, blah. Dude, I'll fight to the death about Continental. I love Continental. Even if they drop the sponsorship. Oh, I shouldn't say that. They'll drop it. I'll still promote it. I'll still promote it. No, I'm playing. But the ECSO2, the DWSO6 Plus, and I'm not even going to bring up the Viking Contact. If you don't got that,
you're
I'm done thinking about snow.
yeah, give me a month, and then I'll tell you, you should start thinking about, because you're going to procrastinate and not get it. But any of the tires in the lineup, phenomenal sizes that they offer. All of my friends that I've pitched getting Continentals to get them, they love them too. And I'm not just saying that. They have no reason to say, that they love them, but they do. They come back, they're like, bro, these are the best tires I've ever had. Spending a little bit of extra money on your tires goes such a long way. And the good news is too, Continental isn't even like the most expensive out of the bunch, but they're not the cheapest either. So you get like the best bang for your buck. And I think that's why they're such a good tire, because they're right in the middle of the pack there price wise, but you get like top tier performance. And they're not telling me to say this. I'm saying this from experience of having them, driving the Extreme Contact Sport 02 from Wisconsin to Tennessee and back, and then even getting the chance to rip it on the track up at US Air here and have some fun. Even on the drag strip and stuff, it's just performed phenomenal. I feel like I've gotten every cent worth of that tire. So if you are interested in Continental at all, make sure to get them over at MartiniWorks.com, and a huge shout out to Conti for being a sponsor of the MartiniWorks podcast.
Breaking news!
Breaking news.
I have some this time because I was proactive.
Oh, okay.
So Ford Mustang GTD, right? Pretty cool car. Broke a lot of records lately.
Not just cool, it's fucking sick.
I would say it's pretty badass.
Yeah, it is. Hell yeah.
You know what else is pretty badass about it?
What?
I don't know. The curb weight was finally revealed. So the official weight of this thing was finally revealed. Do you want to take a guess at how much the Ford Mustang GTD weighs?
I'm going to say, I wish I knew how much like a regular Mustang weighed.
Sure.
3,600-ish.
Really?
About. Give or take a few hundred.
So a S650 Mustang GT weighs 3,821 pounds. Or sorry, the manual one weighs about 3,800 pounds.
That's close.
All right. Well, using logic of it's got to weigh a lot because you're bringing it up on the
But
podcast.
it's a race car. It should be lighter.
Right. I don't know. I'll say 5K.
Okay.
I don't know, like 4,200.
Okay. Higher or lower than a Ford F-150?
Is this an M5 all over again?
It should be lower, the hope.
So the curb weight officially came in at 4,343 pounds.
Jesus.
So yeah, to put in perspective, the Mustang GT weighed about 3,800. The Dark Horse variant just under 4,000 at 3,900. GT 500 coming in at 4,225. So it seems like the more higher horsepower they go, the higher they weigh. But yeah, people were saying like I've literally spec'd a Ford F-150 that weighs less than
Badass, more like fat ass.
but yeah,
Canceled.
like I said, still absolutely shattering some freaking records out there, which is insane.
You know, everybody wants a cool car that is high performance, and they'll be like, the weight doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Here's why the weight matters. The weight doesn't matter about the car. The weight matters is when all the fucking construction on your highway and back roads are being done because your fat ass vehicles keep cracking the fucking pavement. That's why I hate fucking heavy vehicles.
You think Mustang GTDs are ruining the roads?
They 100% are. There's been a scientific study done on how heavy vehicles in America are the reason there's so much goddamn construction all the time. And I'm sick of construction on 41. And I'm going to start blaming the GTD for the reason that you keep being late to work.
I don't think that's accurate. I think it's like the 85 plows that are dragging a huge fucking thing across the road every morning.
Yeah, just some other reference points. C8 ZR1 coming in at 3,900 pounds. And then the IMSA Ford Mustang GT3, like the actual GT3 car, coming in at 2,900.
Yeah.
So
Quite
a difference.
It's a touchscreen.
Yeah, it's a damn navigation system.
The new Corvette is like a specimen that needs to be studied. That is like the most 180 a car could possibly do.
Dude, for real. And people love it.
They should. It's a fucking monster.
I'd
I
say
saw people were complaining on the internet. They're like, because they said, oh, my fully spec'd ZR1's coming in at, $230,000. And it's like, yeah, look at what you're getting.
Yeah, it's an insane
An
car.
over 1,000 horsepower mid-engine supercar, like borderline goddamn hypercar at that point.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it is insane the numbers that those things are putting out.
It's like walking every car in its class,
It is
including
interesting.
the Italian versions.
It is interesting too, like how much, like you said, like a 180 that car took with the C8 generation.
They rolled the dice on that.
Yeah,
shit.
especially with their target demographic. Very.
Putting the engine in the back. They really were like,
They loved it.
Trust me.
They loved it.
Yeah.
That was like you said, roll the dice, and it worked out.
It's working. People like the C8. I don't like the C8. People like the C8.
Fun fact: they've been trying to put that engine in the middle of the Corvette since like the 3rd gen, but that's like a whole different.
You know what I
story.
don't
Chevy
like?
was doing some like weird mid-engine.
They always
shit
have been trying
for
to
a
get
while,
that
yeah.
engine in the other spot.
I don't mind that. I think that's great. I'm glad they did that. I don't like that. I still think it's weird that like center column of single buttons that,
that is weird.
goes all the way from the dash to your ass.
Okay, wait. I have a question for you. Would you rather have dash to ass buttons? Would you rather have dash to ass buttons on the Corvette C8 or all touchscreen?
No, I'd rather have the touch or no. Jesus, I almost canceled myself. The dash to ass buttons. I'd much rather have that. I don't want all touchscreen buttons.
Yeah, you don't get to choose anymore if you like the dash to ass buttons because everybody's just getting rid of buttons entirely. So you got to take what you can get.
The thing is, you can go look at like a fucking 1990 Toyota Camry and they got it all figured out. Not a single touchscreen in sight, and every button is placed, and none of them are by my ass.
That car has 500,000 miles.
Got another 500 to go.
Just getting broken.
Just one of the things I noticed too, speaking of good interiors, I thought to myself, that mid 2010s Audi interior had like reached its peak.
Yeah.
Audi has admitted to itself its interior quality is worse now
Oh, damn.
than it ever has been before.
Audi said that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Damn.
Yeah, so that's
I really threw him for a loop.
It's like fuck. If it's to the point where they're even like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is fucking bad. This ain't good. Not like what it used to
Are you
be,
guys a fan?
guys.
Like, there's like my car's kind of like it too, and I remember Brent's old S4 actually was like this. Like everything has like that orange, like all the screens are like that orange like screen to them.
yeah, that orange.
Do you like that?
You from the early 2000s?
Or no, it was like 2010s era. So
Yeah, I know.
it would be around there.
BMWs do that too.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like mine's like that, where like all the
Yeah.
screens and like the dash stuff is like
I
that
don't
orange
mind
color.
it. I thought it was weird at first because
Yeah.
my Supra even has it too, and I was like, oh. And now I've came around to it, and I don't mind.
That's
it.
like BMW's
Yeah.
Toyota-ism coming out because they're
Yeah.
like, listen, we're not going to change it because it's like it's reliable and it works and people don't really seem to care that it's got like 64 bits of color.
Yeah, it
It's
is
just
weird.
wild because I remember like in the early like 2000s, especially like Dodge, and then, like they still do it with the Jeep and stuff. It was like that green. It was like that like
Yep, that
weird,
weird
like green color.
light.
And then like I remember like hopping in like Brent's S4 that like first time like, dude, there's so much orange in this. Like everything's illuminated just orange. Like what the hell's going on?
So the statement came from a man named Oscar de Silva Martins, head of product and technology communication. He was unusually open in his self-criticism and said to journalists present when asked, "We have certainly been better in terms of quality in the past, but we will get there again."
Okay. I mean, hey, step one's recognizing problem, right?
Yeah, I mean that goes a lot further than what most would do. So
I mean, I agree.
props
It's
to
like,
be honest. I guess.
what company is really doing just like proper interiors right?
That's
Dude,
not like a
it's
luxury
the-
platform.
'cause I think
Just
you
like
can-
anything.
I think you can nitpick pretty much
BMW?
everything. BMW
I love
have been doing a
BMW
good job.
interiors.
Yeah. BMW have been doing a really good
The
job.
thing with me, the BMW interiors, like they always do really good for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but it's almost chronic. Like the side bolstering on all the seats goes to shit.
Yep.
In every
Dude,
BMW
yep.
ever. Like the leather cracks after 7 years.
I just want you to get a new car.
Yeah. Seats blowing out. Time for a new car. I'd say Mazda does a good job too. The only gripe I have about that is like they use that fucking like piano black everywhere still,
Dude,
and
that
it's just
stuff's
like,
trash.
dude, it gets scratched so easy. It smudges so easy. It's just like it just looks kind of cheap. But like everything else about those interiors are like really nice.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Acura? No.
I haven't set foot in like a new Acura in a while, to be honest.
Yeah, I got to drive the new NSX on the track, which was
Oh, it's supposed to be.
amazing. I had to say that was phenomenal. but the interior was ass. Holy cow. The interior looked like it was dated 20 years.
It is a Honda at the end of the day.
Yeah. They weren't shy about it. My God.
I still believe Volkswagen, outside of their decision with like the touchscreen that they're going back on, I still think that like that Mark 7, Mark
Solid.
6
Very
interior,
Very good.
best you could get.
Especially at the price point.
I look at Dustin's old, I think it was a Mark 7, right? Was it a 7? Yeah. When Dustin showed up with that Mark 7 GTI, I remember thinking to myself, like, he must have spent like 35 G's on this thing.
No.
And he's like, nah, I bought it for like 13 or something like that. I'm like, the amount of value you got from Dieselgate or whatever it was called was insane.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm trying to think. Sorry.
No, you're
Do you
good.
have another breaking
Yeah, I
news?
got some good news actually.
Oh, yes, we need that.
So Gazoo Racing, so obviously part of like Toyota, working with Toyota and stuff. A few years ago, they announced their heritage parts program. So it's like bringing back and remanufacturing and replicating some parts for like older Toyotas and stuff. So like keep the rep parts, but not really, to keep them, on the road and like in good condition. So a few years ago, they rolled out some parts, but they're introducing some more. In 2025 to service the E86 Corollas, Mark III and Mark IV Supras, and then pretty much every single series of Land Cruiser known to man from like the early years.
I'm assuming with the new Land Cruiser, the old ones must
Probably.
have gained some
Yeah.
popularity back. That's cool though that they do that they're willing to hop back in and recreate
Dude, I think
some
that's
old
huge.
parts.
I think that's so huge because like, dude, we talk about it all the time. It's like all the new vehicles coming out. It's like it's tough to get like a little hyped about that kind of stuff. At least like it's rare, right? And it's like we always look back to like the older cars, but then it's like, dude, the older cars are expensive to work on, or you can't get parts for the older cars, or whatever it might be. So the fact that like the actual the Chonkla's coming.
He came in for stuff.
Sorry, we had a male guy come in and disrupted the entire podcast.
So I did-
he was scared as
So
hell
I had to throw
when he came in.
So I had to throw a chancla at Carissa. I hit her dead in the forehead.
She looked right at you
I
too.
know she did. I didn't hit her in the forehead for
Oh,
HR
she's
purposes.
fine. It hit in the back of the chair.
Yeah.
Didn't even hit her actually. So case closed. But yeah, no, I think it's super dope. I think any time I see stuff like that, it gets me super happy because like I think keeping those cars around for as long as we can is
That's
huge.
why I'm genuinely, and we don't even have like the manufacturer represented in this garage, and we need to, but it's like, that's why I am, when I think back to like one brand I really want to get closer to is like the stuff with Mazda. Like they're just so unsuspecting in what they're doing. Like, sure, we need a new Miata. We need something else.
We need something new.
We need
yeah.
something besides that. But like, I've never heard a bad thing about the CX-30, the CX-50, the CX-90, the new Mazda Miata. They're still in grassroots racing. They're still in pro racing. Like they're doing all the stuff. For a good Ford, same thing.
Yeah.
Like regardless on the way you want to think about the brand, like they're still doing like just about everything, and they're getting back into like racing, like big boy racing.
Yeah, they're doing some crazy stuff. No, I think that stuff's dope.
Mercedes, on the other hand,
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. We kind of bring that up every time, and we're just like, they're just doing what they're doing. No one really knows.
I still want to know the first buyer of a Mercedes, like the person that buys a Mercedes from you. Who is that?
I feel like it's. I don't even know.
Don't even know.
I was gonna say something, but then I thought about it. I was like, no, that wouldn't even make sense.
I feel like it's like someone that buys them as like fleet vehicles, like for their business.
That's kind of
and
what I
then
was thinking. Yeah.
They get distributed, like they get driven like to pick people up, rich people. And then after like a year or 2 years, whenever they feel kind of older, then they get cycled out. Now they are commonplace. Like you're getting sold to individual people. And I feel like that's how Mercedes.
But it's in like LA, so they're only traveling like 20 miles at a time, but it takes all day. Yeah.
Yeah.
last news that I have, and we can keep it non-political because I think that's important. But like, have you guys noticed that literally every form of EV like production talk has been like almost completely halted in the last 6 weeks? It's insane.
Just like recently.
Yeah, like every other article on our cars is.
I did. Yeah, when I was going through that this morning too, I noticed a lot of talk about like the Porsche like Taycan.
Yeah.
You know, like how like the sales of that, or whatever, and they're like, is Porsche actually going to go back on the EV like movement or something? And I feel like the last like year or so, I feel like it has been pretty.
Yeah.
The thing is, they're just too expensive. Every one of them is too fucking expensive. Like they're put in like a 6-figure fucking price category for some reason because it's electric. It's supposed to be luxury, I guess.
Yeah.
Like until they are actually competitive with normal internal combustion engine car prices, I can't see them working to their full potential.
I would love a hybrid electric sports car, like under 50. It had like a little like just a little generator, for the front wheels, and then the gas can go to the back.
Dude, it's like the Prius
have
has
some
been
fun
doing
with
that
it.
since fucking 2004.
That's
like,
true. Which still looks really good, by the way.
Toyota got along with the Prius. The Prius does a fantastic job. It does exactly what it needs to do. I know it gets a lot of shit like talked about it because like the first generations were not the prettiest looking. They come around.
They say
They
that
look good now.
Yeah, well, they say the reason Toyota survived the U.S. recession,
And I believe it,
was because of the Prius.
I believe it 100%.
Came at the perfect time, the perfect price point. It was everything a more conscious U.S. consumer wanted.
Moms loved them.
Yes.
Dude.
Because it wasn't meant to be like this luxurious car. It was meant to be like, hey, here's a car that can save you some money and is a little
be
better for
reliable.
the environment.
Dude, I still remember this talk that my dad had with me because this is when he started to realize I was kind of a car person. Was happening, right? The recession was happening, and you had like a couple options. You had the Pontiac G5, you had the Toyota Corolla, you had the Camry, and then you had the Prius.
Yep.
The Prius was like kind of the top dog at the time, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And then you had like the Nissan Leaf and the Nissan Versa. And my dad was like, Alex, which one do you think I should get? And I said, I really think you should either get the Camry or the Prius. And my dad's like, I'm not getting a Prius.
Yeah,
that's for women. Like that's what he said. Oh, that's for women. So he didn't get one.
Yeah.
What did he get? He got the goddamn Nissan Versa.
Oh, God.
For men.
For men. Whatever. That's funny.
I
Yeah.
love it.
The first years of the Prius, they were
Ugly.
ugly.
Ugly, man.
But yeah.
So bad. But it'll be exciting to see. I think 2025 is going to be a really interesting year
It's already been pretty interesting.
for manufacturing, at least. It's cool to see that the GTD is coming out. I hope it comes out, and makes good waves in racing.
It's been a better year for submarines, that's for sure.
Yeah, so far so good for the submarine.
Not the greatest for airplanes.
No, my God, Jesus.
Did you? I'm sorry. Out of car context, chat.
God, here we
Chat.
go.
Just
Here
stay
we
with
go.
me on this one. The fact we live in an era where I can watch a guy filming him crawling out of a Delta plane that flipped as the stewardess is trying to tell the guy to not film. First off, fuck that woman for telling him what he can and can't do as a fucking plane
It's upside
just
down.
flipped.
Yeah, the rule's kind of out the window.
Crawls
after that.
out, and he like just pans the camera, and there it is, upside down,
Yeah.
middle of the winter.
That
He's
just
like,
happened.
I was just
Holy
on that. It's like, oh. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Aviation, not a good look at the moment.
we have the ability to consume knowledge.
They all
way
gave
too
up.
easily.
Yeah. The part that bugs me about it the most too is like it's starting to, because every single time this is talked about now, the news as like, oh, if there's an aviation incident, we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like spread into like the general aviation side. It's like general aviation inherently pretty safe, but like there's a lot more accidents in general aviation. There's like an accident almost every day in general aviation.
Yeah.
And it's like now you're hearing about every single one of those accidents, and it's like, what's happening? What's going on? There's something happening. And it's like general aviation accidents have been happening every single day almost for basically since general aviation was introduced.
That's like
You're putting that in the hands of like people like you and me, to do stuff like that. And it's like it's getting all this like terrible light shed on. It's like, yeah, I agree. Like there has been a weird strain of like commercial incidents lately, which is weird. I will say that, but like the focus on like the general aviation side, I think is just
I
unwarranted.
mean, you guys know planes better than anybody else that I actually like know. It's just now you have news organizations that are like, we're gonna stick on something as long as it's talked about, and now you have all the algorithms that are picking up things that people are talking about, and you have this like super rocket of every fucking thing you look at is now about planes crashing. And like my wife asked me, Becca, she's like, are planes crashing more now than ever before? And I'm like, that's actually a really good question. So I go online, and it's like the first answer is there is literally not enough data to signify a correlation of airplane crashes because they happen so infrequently. Like, there's just not enough data to even tell you what the statistic could be. So I was like, oh, well, shit, I don't think it happens that much. But we're a car podcast, not an airplane podcast. All I'm saying is that was fucking wild to watch.
Yeah.
I had to get off the internet for a little bit. I was done with that.
Had to go detox.
Yeah, you're a big Delta guy too, so I'd hit home.
I know. About to go fly Spirit these days. They're the only ones that haven't had like a major fucking airplane
Just
crash.
have to deal with some mice and some cramped seats. And stuff.
There's nothing on them to go wrong. It's pretty bare bones. They got like 2 things to check. They're like, yeah, they're good. Send it.
I like never ever actually put my seatbelt back on too when we land, and then like after that one, I was like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah, everyone's
That's
kind of
insane,
waiting for the
actually.
ding.
that makes sense.
Insane.
Yeah, that is. You're breaking the rules and you just admitted it. FAA is gonna be knocking on your door.
Sometimes I forget because I'm watching
Doesn't
a
take much
TV
nowadays.
show.
Probably leave your phone in airplane.
No,
Not
I
in
leave
airplane
my
mode.
tablet in that goddamn little fucking thing
Tablet kid.
way too many times.
My favorite part is like watching how long Alex can get away with before he has to put his table up and stop working when we come to a flight. It's my favorite thing. I like start taking bets on it now. It's like, how many times do they have to tell him to put it away before he's actually going to put it away?
How do I bet on this? All right. Well, what do you think, boys? Should we get back to work?
Yeah, well,
gonna
we
go
do
grab
have to
lunch.
tell you about the last partner of the MartiniWorks podcast, which is our very own and favorite Fortune Auto. It's not our very own.
Yeah, it
it's
was
our friends.
You got some announcement to make or what?
I own my very own Fortune
yeah, I have
Autos.
some too.
That'd be really sick. But no, we're not buying.
They're
Fortune
doing fine.
We don't need more
Better
work.
than Delta.
Jesus Christ.
Fortune Auto is our partner for the MartiniWorks podcast. If you guys and gals are got the tax return, you're looking to pick up a good set of coilovers, but maybe you've got your forever car. Maybe you're not one of those people that are changing cars every other year. You know, Fortune Auto does a really good job at building a coilover that can grow with you. So you can start off with the 500 series. It's a fantastic coilover option. They have over 300 different fitments. They work absolutely incredible, hand-built in America. They get the, they have a digressive piston, which works absolutely incredible. It gives you a bunch of really good feeling at slow speeds, and it gives you some great feeling at the high speeds if you're taking it out to the track. But that's the great thing. As you get more experience with your car and you want your coilover to do more, Fortune Auto has the ability for you to upgrade your coilover as you go down that path if you want to. So if you want to get into something that's a little bit stronger, a little bit better, maybe more dynamic, you can do that with the very same coilovers. You send them in, they get them changed around, they send them back, and you're ready to rock and roll. And it's a really great option for those guys and gals that are really looking to understand truly how to get the most out of their coilovers. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, you can pick up a set of Fortune Auto coilovers over at MartiniWorks.com. And if you've got an off-road or SUV vehicle, or you got something like a 4Runner and you're looking to learn a little bit more about their off-road line, you can actually go find out more about that at Fortune Auto. They got some really cool stuff that they're releasing, and we're really proud to see them continuing to expand because they're really good people. And we love their stuff. So with that being said, we hope you enjoyed the podcast. Let us know what you think we should talk about next. Dakota, anything for the group?
No, sir.
Gels?
I'm good.
All right. I'm Alex. We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you later.